G'day! Welcome to True Blue History. I'm Adam Bloom. Today we have a very special episode. It's brought to you by Fallen Diggers. Dennis Frank sits down with World War II veteran Don Simpson as he talks about his experiences of the Siege of Tobruk in 1941 and what it means to be one of the Rats of Tobruk. We hope you enjoy this special episode and we thank Fallen Diggers for allowing us to share this episode with you all.
All right, first of all, Don, thank you very much for letting me having a chat with you.
That's very good.
And
yes,
thank you for the service to our country.
Yes.
Now, just starting off, Don, would like to know, what battalion were you in?
2nd 32nd Battalion.
2nd 32nd. Wow, you were in the midst of the action there.
Oh, yes. We were like the... actually, our battalion was formed in England.
Right.
By reinforcements that were on the way to the Middle East, and Italy came into the war and Germany was threatening to invade England, and they decided to send that convoy round South Africa, round the bottom of South Africa, to send it to England to give them some reinforcements because of the situation that developed at that particular time. I wasn't an original member of the battalion. I came as a reinforcement later on.
Okay.
But the very odd thing about the whole situation was that these people that were on the convoy going to the Middle East, they were reinforcements for the 6th Division, which was the first division to go to the Middle East from Australia. And they, being turned round and sent to England, they weren't really fighting troops in the sense that they weren't infantry. Okay. They were auxiliary troops of all different types, and they had to be reformed and made up and trained and put into infantry units. And that it was most peculiar the way the whole situation changed. And then later on, of course, Hitler decided he didn't want to invade England at that time because the RAF had defeated the Luftwaffe in the air. So it turns out that they then decided that those troops could come back to the Middle East. And they'd formed them into 3 battalions, the 2nd 32nd, 2nd... Oh, I'm getting myself all mixed up now, aren't I?
That's okay.
2nd 31st, 2nd 32nd and 2nd 33rd. And they were called the 25th Brigade. So those 3 battalions then came to the Middle East as the 25th Brigade, and then things had changed again in the situation that the 6th Division, which had been fighting in the Western Desert, had beaten the Italians, and so Hitler sent Rommel to support the Italians, and then they were just forming the 9th Division at the time, and the 6th Division was transferred from the Middle East to Greece because Greece was in trouble.
Yes.
And the whole situation was all churning round, and it was a terrific mix-up, really. And our actual battalion was taken out of the 25th Brigade and put into the 24th Brigade. Wow. Because the 24th Brigade was a battalion short, because its battalion, which was the battalion short, was the 25th Battalion. It was a whole mix-up. And the 25th Battalion was put into the other brigade. I'm getting mixed up now.
That's okay.
And,
take your time, Don.
And anyway, finally, our 2nd 32nd Battalion was transferred to the 24th Brigade, and they were sent to Tobruk. That's how our battalion came to be. And then we came in as reinforcements for our battalion. So I was one of the reinforcements that came into Tobruk. And we came up by destroyer.
Wow, and you actually got dropped off at...
in Tobruk Harbour with a destroyer. And we landed there at night at time because everything had to be done at night in Tobruk because of the bombing, consistent bombing of the harbour. You see, Italy, just across a short stretch of the Mediterranean to where Tobruk situation is on the north coast of North Africa. So that was the situation why we had to do everything at night because of the
Stukas flying over and
that's
dropping
right,
bombs.
exactly.
And Diane told you what we do as an organisation. We find lost soldiers and give them a burial. We've been working on a couple of unknown soldiers in the Tobruk cemetery.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
And we believe we've identified one gentleman. And I was wondering, did you have much to do with the 2nd 7th Field Company?
2nd 7th Field Company. Not that I was aware of.
Okay.
They were engineers, of course.
Yes.
2nd Field Company. They probably did come in contact with us at time, but I personally had no direct contact with the.
Because we believe we found John Scholl's place of burial.
Oh, right.
So we're just waiting on the army to confirm that for us.
I see, right.
So you don't recall ever being with
No, I
Private
don't.
John
No.
Scholl's? Okay,
No.
we'll put that to the side. Being situated in Tobruk for that period of time and the constant shelling and bombing, I mean, what was the mateship and the camaraderie like between everyone that was in that situation?
Well, that was one of the things that kept us together, and that's why we were able to hold out against the attacks from Rommel. That was the thing that really bonded us together, and the camaraderie and comradeship was wonderful in every respect.
Between the Aussies, the Brits,
Oh,
everyone.
that's right. There was was British. There was Indians there. There was all sorts people from all the different nations.
Even I was surprised to even find that there was actually Polish.
Yeah, the
army
Poles relieved us towards the end.
Yes.
Yes, they came in and relieved us, so they took over.
So were you in Tobruk for the whole time of the whole siege?
Yes, we were in up until we were relieved. Yes, then the full extent of the siege lasted a bit longer, but we were actually relieved from Tobruk, and we came out by destroyer of Cain, of course, in the same way we went in. But at that time, it was decided that the Australian troops had been there long enough, and they were getting weaker by virtue of the fact that they were getting sores on their legs and that sort of thing, and there was lack of nourishment to heal those sores, and if they kept on going like that, then they would be losing men just simply by the virtue of not being healthy enough to be able to withstand the rigours of the situation.
Wow.
Anyway, that was the government decision to decide to withdraw the Australian troops from Tobruk at that particular point in time.
Your time in Tobruk, did you ever get a glimpse of Rommel?
No, we never came directly in contact with Rommel as such. No.
But is it, from what I've, in my years of experience talking to other World War II, there was a respect between the German army and the Australian army?
Oh, that's right. He was respected. He was above the Nazi type of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was respected as a general.
As a soldier.
And as a soldier.
Yes.
Oh, yes, he was.
Because he wasn't a Nazi official. And
No, he wasn't.
So, but in the siege,
in fact, Hitler had him shot in the finish.
He did. Apparently, when he lost the North African campaign, Hitler asked him what went wrong. Rommel's answer was, "If you give me a division of Australians, I'd capture the world for you." So, don't know if there's any truth in that, but that's apparently what Rommel said to Hitler. So,
it's possible.
But being there with the constant bombardment and the constant attacks by the Germans, to withhold the might of the Wehrmacht army at the time, you really inflicted the first loss in the course of the war.
That's right. Well, this was a turning point, really. It sort of pulled him up.
Yes.
To the extent that that was the beginning of the end, but not the beginning of the end exactly, but the turning point whereby from then on we were able to start to get a little bit better and getting victories in our own right, so to speak.
That's fair. And is there also a lot of the stuff that I've learned is you were actually using the captured artillery of the Italians to help you?
We did actually. The Australians actually captured some of the Italian and were able to turn it round and use it against them. Yes, indeed.
Wow. And is it true that the Italians just gave up that easily?
Well, they did up to a point, I suppose. It's difficult to pinpoint an actual occasion where they actually turn round. I don't know that I actually came in direct contact with any Italians exactly. The 6th Division were the chaps that really routed the Italians in the early days, and we mostly came up against Germans by the time we came, because Rommel had come into the situation then, and there were. We faced mainly the Germans.
I just can't believe that you held out the might of the German army for so long, and them to come up with a nickname. They're the Rats of Tobruk.
Yeah, well, that was Haw-Haw, Lord Haw-Haw.
Lord Haw-Haw
gave nicknames or in a derogatory way to call us the Rats of Tobruk, skulking in their foxholes. And we adopted it as a pride, as a badge of pride, and we just took it on, and we became known as the Rats of Tobruk.
I think a lot of the defending of the town really falls on the Australian commander. I've forgotten his name now. Who led the?
Morshead.
Morshead, that's the one.
Morshead.
I believe he's the one that actually instigated the defence of Tobruk.
Absolutely, he really did. He organised the idea that you had to go out every night and patrol your front area. There was every section of the front had to have a patrol go out each night and harass the enemy, so as not let him settle down or prepare anything for an attack. And that was Morshead's strong edict that everybody had to have a patrol out every night.
And they also say the Germans had a high respect for the Australian army because Rommel was telling them how fierce they were during World War One.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Germans apparently feared when you fixed bayonets.
Oh, that was the cold steel. They don't like the cold steel.
And were you ever on patrols?
Oh yes, we went on patrol on several occasions, but I didn't actually come in contact with any enemy. You don't always. It just depends on the particular area where you are. But when we were in the one section where was what they call the salient, that was the real danger area. We couldn't move during the daytime at all because he was in a position where he was sort of looking over us and had control of that particular area of the perimeter.
Yes.
And we had to do everything at night time, even bringing up meals. They had to come up at night time, and so replenish our stocks or whatever.
Wow,
I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine it. It was quite an experience, really. But often machine guns fire going either side and that sort of thing, and you got to keep very low all the while and so on.
And the British Navy did a good job supplying.
The Navy were absolutely dependent entirely of the Navy bringing us, both the Australian Navy and the British Navy, bringing up supplies for us all the time, which was necessary to keep the garrison going.
And after the whole siege, did you stay in touch with a lot of your friends that you served with after the war? And
not to any great extent. No, I got wounded later on at El Alamein.
Okay.
I was wounded in the leg, and I was not able to get round for quite some time. It severed the nerve in my leg, and as a result, it was not pain where the wound was, but pain was all down in the foot.
Okay.
In the ball of the foot, it was like a red-hot poker.
Oh.
And it was constant. And anyway, gradually it got better, got less and less as the nerve grew, and finally knitted. And gradually, they doctors used to go over my leg with a hat pin and prick around and find out where the sensitive parts were, and draw a pattern on my leg to see where how it was gradually getting better and gradually come and so finally. Gradually, as the time went by, so the pain eased and it got less and less, and finally it went away altogether. But for the time, I suppose, for the 18 months over that period, it was just living hell. But anyway, you live through that, and you just managed to get through it somehow.
Get through it. Well, I guess you get through it with your mates.
Well, that's right. Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
And what I just can't get my head around is how you guys did it. You know, with you set up the tank traps, you let the tanks in,
yes,
and then got them from behind.
That's
you
right.
know, it's like it's amazing that I mean, who did was that Moorehead's idea to set up the tank traps?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it was. He was a fantastic general. Now he came remarkable. Going back to what I was telling you about the formation of this business of the convoy being turned around and sent to England. Now the 18th Brigade was in that convoy, and they went to England too. And when they decided to bring them back, they came back. Now the 18th Brigade was officially the 7th Division.
Okay.
But it got caught up in in Tobruk, and it remained with the 9th Division, but it was still part of the 7th Division, because the 9th Division had its own 3 brigades, so 3 brigades to a division, and the 18th Brigade became part of that. And Moorehead was the brigadier in charge of the 18th Brigade, and he got promoted and to command Tobruk, and command 9th Division. So the 18th Brigade was really our mainstay in many respects, and it became Moorehead became the wonderful leader that he was.
It was amazing.
It's just amazing of events of the way it changed around.
Now, can I ask you, when the Australians pulled out, and you then heard that Tobruk was captured, how did that make the Australians feel?
That was a terrible blow to us, because we revered the fact that we were able to hold Tobruk for all that time, and then finally it fell afterwards, and we weren't there to. But anyway, that's the way.
But do you believe if the Australians stayed there, if they reinforced with more Australians, it would have stayed under Allied hands, or do you think it would have been captured anyway?
Well, it could have been captured by virtue of the fact that at that time, I think Rommel got some extra reinforcements, and we were lacking at that particular point in time in the scope of the running of the war, I suppose, in a sense. It's just the way things ebb and flow, really, yes, in that way, which was the whole theme of the North African campaign. It was ebbing and flowing all the time, fluctuating back and forth.
Yes.
So it was just one of the part of that
yes,
that whole exercise, really. In
Rommel
that sense
would just stretch his supply lines.
Yeah,
too
that's
far.
right. Yep.
But in your time there, what would be your worst memory and fondest memory?
Oh, I don't know. Really, it's a funny sort of situation to remember back and try and analyse how your feelings were over that period. It just you just took it as it came, and you accepted the situation as it was, and you made the best of it, and you just continued on and did the best that you could do under the circumstances, and just one of those things that happen, and you just kept going
You
as
just keep
best you could.
for your mates and for your
That's
country.
right, for you. Absolutely. I mean, that was the whole purpose of the exercise, really.
Do you think with the Australians, like the way the Australians fought in both World Wars is outstanding for such a small country?
That's right. We were.
What do you think made us so good in the theatre of war?
Well, it's the mateship, the attitude. It's the attitude of the Australians as they've got a special bond that the other countries perhaps don't have. I don't know, but there's it's best expressed in mateship, I think, is the term that comes best to mind. It's just that's something that seems to be there. It's perhaps to do with the vast expanse of the country in some ways, that you travel across this great country of ours, and you meet people from all walks of life, and there seems to be a bond there that exists. It's Australia.
It's Australia. And well put. Did you volunteer?
Yes, I was a volunteer. Yes.
And where did you volunteer? Which?
We went to Melbourne Town Hall.
Okay.
We walked up Constant Street to the Melbourne Town Hall and went in there, and there's a group of us, and we volunteered, and they sat us down and asked us questions, and we answered the best as we could, I suppose, whatever they required, and then they sent us from there to Caulfield Racecourse, which the army had taken over as a camping ground, and we slept up in the bench up in the
the stands.
The stands, up in the stands, and that sort of thing. We were there for I suppose about 3 months, and then they sent us to Caulfield. I'm talking about we're at Caulfield, they sent us to Wangaratta. That's right, Wangaratta. Wow. Sent us to Wangaratta Showgrounds. We did some training there, and then finally, after 3 months, they sent us to just outside Bacchus Marsh.
Ballarat?
Darley.
Darley
camp. It was a big army camp at Darley. And they sent us to Darley, and that's where we did our final training before we went overseas. And then they gave us a bit of leave, embarkation leave they called it. And then they sent us to, and then we got on the train to Sydney.
Okay.
And when we got to Sydney, there in the harbour was the Queen Mary, the Queen Elizabeth, Aquitania, Ile de France, and New Amsterdam, and they were the ships of our convoy to the Middle East.
Wow. And
so we went on the Queen Mary.
How did your parents react when you volunteered?
They were very pleased, actually. My parents are English, of course. They're born in England. In fact, I was born in England myself. Okay. I was only 3 years of age when I came to Australia. So I don't really remember much of England, but I'm a true Aussie. I'm a real Australian. I've lived here all my life, with the exception of the first 3 years. So anyway, that's another story, I suppose.
And did your dad serve in the First World War?
Yes, Dad served in the First World War. He was in the Royal Naval Air Service.
Oh wow!
He was. Yes, he.
And did he give you any hints and tips before you went?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we had quite a good conversation as regards that sort of thing. But, yes, it was, I don't know, it was a wonderful experience, really, overall.
It's something this generation I don't think will ever understand, what you guys went through and what you did.
Well, that's the way of it. I mean, yeah.
And when you look back on it, if you had to do it again, would you do it again?
Yes, I'd do it again. Yes. It's one of those things that he had to be stopped. He's a madman, but he had to be stopped. And he's the way he induced the enthusiasm for his people. He was just power crazy.
Yeah.
he just had to be stopped. He had to, you see, I mean, he turned even he had to go and invade Russia. Now that was the most stupid thing a man would ever do, to have already have two fronts this side and then go and have a third front over there and against Russia. And it was just too stupid for words.
It was.
But there you are.
But thankfully he did.
Well, that's right, yes.
You know, it's just, and how long were you at sea for, making your way to Tobruk?
Well, I suppose you leave Sydney and go around, pick up people at Perth, I think, Fremantle, and then go on to the Middle East. I suppose for about 3 weeks. I don't know. I can't remember now just exactly how long we were at sea.
Fine.
But we had an escort, Navy escort. I think they had a cruiser and 2 destroyers. I think had a cruiser up front and 2 destroyers behind.
And was a threat of torpedoing always?
Oh yeah, that's right. They're there to try and spot any torpedoes that submarines might try and fire. But we never had any cause to any alarm at all during the voyage. It was a very smooth trip. There was no worries about anything of that nature, fortunately.
It's mind-boggling. That I still just can't get over how the Australians held out the might of Rommel and the Wehrmacht for that period of time. It's just
it was
amazing and
it was the constant patrols at night were the key factor to the whole thing. I think that you see the whole ring of forts all the way around Tobruk, and that's where we manned all those forts. And they were built by the Italians in the first place, and because Italy occupied that part of the North African coast at that time, and so it was just.
And how bad was the aerial bombardment by the Germans?
Well, it was constant. That was the point. But you just had to keep yourself down below ground level, so to speak, and providing you didn't get a direct hit, you were pretty safe. It was only if you got a really direct hit that you got any serious casualties that way.
They say that the Australian anti-aircraft gunners were pretty good too.
Oh well, that's right. They had a terrific job to do, and they carried it out very well indeed. That was quite amazing. That.
It's just, luckily the world didn't have to go into a third world war.
No, that's right.
But there was all the many other little wars.
Yes.
But when you, for example, like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and you saw young Australian men going to fight again, what went through your mind? Did you just think, here we go again, or?
Well, it's the situation that called for it, I suppose, at the time. You just have to face up to the situation as it evolves and unfolds, and you've got your own feelings about it, and everybody feels a bit differently, I suppose, about some things and that sort of thing. They might have had a bit of resentment or rebellion against that sort of situation, depending on their political beliefs and feelings and that sort of thing, but it's up to you to make your decision on that sort of thing.
So true.
It's an individual thing, I think.
It's just war's never a good thing, and
no,
and people it just seems like they don't learn from history. But Andrew and I will keep trying to find as many of our lost soldiers as we can.
Yeah, that's right, of course. Yeah.
So what were you doing mainly when you were in the siege of Tobruk?
Well, I was what I call a platoon runner. That is to say, a platoon commander, he controls the platoon as such under direction of a company commander.
Yes.
And in our particular platoon, we didn't have an officer in charge of the platoon. We had a sergeant, Sergeant Richards. He was our platoon commander. And he asked me one day, soon after we got there as a reinforcement, I was just new chums on the ground, and the chappie that was a platoon runner had just applied for and got a transfer to the transport section.
Okay.
And as the new reinforcements had just come in, that allowed the situation to arrive whereby he could transfer. So Eddie said to me, Eddie, that was Sergeant Richards, Edward James Richards, he said to me, Eddie said, would you like to take on the job of platoon runner? And I looked at him, I said, I'm a bit of a new chum here. I said, he says, I think you'll do the job very well. So anyway, I said, okay, I'll give it a go. So I took it on, and the idea of what is that as a platoon runner, you are the link between the platoon commander and his 3 corporals who just run the sections. A corporal in charge of each section, about 8 men.
Okay.
So I'm the sort of the go-between, as it were. If he wants to move one of his sections up one way or take them back or whatever he wants to do, I have to take that message to the corporal, and the corporal carry it out.
So you're always in the open fire getting...
Well, I to a certain extent, I suppose, yes. But anyway, that's the way it is, and that was the job I took on because he asked me to, and he seemed to have confidence in me to carry out that job. So I thought, well, if he's got confidence in me, I've got to have confidence in myself to do it.
And so, how long were the runs that you had to do with like?
Well, it depends on your disposition. There wouldn't be a great deal of distance, but the point is that you are open to enemy fire at any point in time. You don't know exactly just where the enemy might be at any one particular point in time, and so you just take your chance for and make sure that you can see from one point where you're going to another, that you see if you've got cover to try and get there and not expose yourself unnecessarily to enemy fire.
Was there a time where you thought, shit,
yes.
I'm done?
Yeah, yes, there was a close one when I could hear it crack just over the top of my head there. And I thought that was close. But anyway, you duck down and you keep still and make sure that you're right for the next move and make your move, and anyway, I got through it all right.
Oh, you certainly did. So, yeah, and just actually, I've got now a few more coming to my head. How was the morale? Like once the Germans pushed through, you defeated them, and you lost a few mates. What was the morale like? Was it still strong? Was the result?
It was still strong. Yes, Australian morale right throughout the whole campaign was very, very good.
It's I've heard the stories and I've read the books, but
yeah.
Until you talk to someone who was there, you just sit there and you got to hear it firsthand.
Yeah. Oh yes, and morale was very good.
So the whole time you were there, you were just running. You were running all the messages through.
More or less, yes. That was basically my particular job as a platoon runner. Later on, he was promoted to an officer rank.
Wow.
And he was promoted to lieutenant, and we were transferred to another company. We were in A company in Tobruk, and when we came out of Tobruk, he was promoted to lieutenant, and we transferred to D company, and I went with him. He asked me to come with him.
Wow.
And so we went to D company, and then that was later on. I got wounded in the leg, and I said, Eddie, I've been hit. And he said, hang on, Don. He said, I'll be back. He had to take the platoon back to a position further back behind the ridge we'd just come forward of. And he took the platoon back, and about 5 or 10 minutes later, he came out, a lieutenant, and he brings a sergeant with him to bring up me, a humble private. And they came out, and he says, where's your first aid kit? I took it out of my pocket and gave it to him. He bandaged up my leg, and they picked me up and took me back. And then they put me on a Bren gun carrier, and that took me back to Field Hospital then they took me on and operated on my leg and took me back to, and then they put me on a hospital ship and brought me back to Australia. Came back to Melbourne. You won't believe it. The wharfies are on strike in Melbourne, so we couldn't go to Melbourne. So I had to go to New Zealand. They took us on to New Zealand. We go to New Zealand. They turn around. By the time they turn around and come back to Melbourne, the strike was over.
Wow.
But you wouldn't read about it, would you? The wharfies are on strike in Melbourne.
Yeah,
And so we had to go to New Zealand and come back.
And what happened to Lieutenant Richard? Did he survive the war?
No, he didn't. He was killed just 2 days after I was wounded. He had to take a patrol out, and he got wounded. He got killed. He machine gun. I suppose I was lucky getting wounded when I did, because the good chances that I would have been quite close to where he was when he was killed, and I could have got killed with the same spray of bullets. So had I not been wounded when I did, I might have got killed when he did. Wow. So I was lucky in that sense. Just 2 days after I was wounded, he got killed.
Lieutenant Richards, I might follow. I want to see if he's got a known grave or not.
Yes, he has. His photograph. Okay. I've got to show you a photograph of his grave.
Oh wow!
But yes, and anyway, that's that was terrible.
That's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, were far superior to some of the other reports of the other officers. But he was only a sergeant, but they later recognised that and promoted him to officer rank. But had he been officer rank at the time, he would have got military cross instead of the military medal.
Do you recall what he did to get the military medal?
Well, it's
in the book.
Oh, there in the book. I don't know that I could find it for you.
No,
now.
it's okay. It's fine.
But,
I'll follow it up.
Anyway, it's all there. It's all recorded there.
Yeah.
But he.
There'll be in his service file too.
Yeah, so that's right.
I'll have a.
Yes, it's.
Read of his service file. If it's not digitised, I'll pay for it to have it digitised. And I don't know. Would you like a copy of his service file? Or?
If you could get a copy of it, it would be.
Okay. I'll organise a copy of his service file and I'll.
Yeah.
Give it to you. Yeah.
Hey Don, do you want to ask Dennis any questions?
Oh gosh. I don't know. No, I don't know.
It's what we do, Don, is simple. We researched all the missing soldiers from World War One and World War Two.
Yes.
And then we go and find their resting places if we can.
Yes, of course.
If the artillery's done a job on them, then we'll never find them.
No, that's right.
But a lot of, to date, we've found 20 World War One soldiers, and we've got a lot of World War Two cases. Yeah. So one of them is John Scholes, who was in Tobruk. A few airmen that went missing over Germany, and a few airmen that went missing over New Guinea.
There'll be quite a few like that.
So, but I do thank you for your time, Dom. I really appreciate it. It's just,
it's wonderful that I.
And I've got it now recorded for history.
Okay, good on you. Oh, well. Now you
can I have your full name, Don?
Donald Leonard Simpson.
Donald Leonard Simpson.
Thanks for listening. We thank Dennis Frank and Andrew Pittaway from Fallen Diggers for allowing us to share Donald Simpson's experiences of being a Rat of Tobruk in 1941. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review for the podcast on whatever platform you get your podcast. If you would like to support us, you can now via our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/True Blue History, or via Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/True Blue History. The links will be in the description below. And check out our new website, truebluehistory.com, for more information about the podcast.